Hello there. Good morning and good evening. It gives us pleasure to meet with you again. I was missing you a lot, and it's been quite some time since we did a session like this. Um, I hope you all have been benefited, blessed through these sessions. We need a lot of feedback. Please leave your comments at the end of every session, and we would like to improve on our narrative quality, audio quality, video quality, whatever you call it as. But then we need more feedback. Also, we want you to give us more topics that we could prepare and present to you. We keep repeating that these kind of sessions are made with one objective, one purpose, that is to help the mankind and how you can live your lives successfully, um, and you can march ahead in prosperity, you march ahead in confidence. So that's the reason to help the mankind. We are putting our time, efforts to help you. All right. Okay. So welcome to this session. Yet another topic. We are here to describe, and we will have some fascinating time together that is helpful for both of us. Um, Today's topic is about judge not and let others judge you. Uh, Many of you may not understand the title, or few of you might have understood. We all are living in a society where we are so judgmental upon people, right? Now the question comes, $1 million question comes, who made you the judge over the people? Excuse me. See, I started coughing up because it's a very complicated question and a serious question that every one of us should ask to ourselves, like, who made you judge over others, right? The only person whom you can judge, or upon whom you have the rights to judge, is you and yourself. I, myself, and me can finger point at me and judge, right? You need not turn your forefinger, or you shouldn't be turning your forefinger and judging the society or the people, right? Judging is different from discriminating. Perseverance, it comes with a little bit of perseverance skills and discriminating aspects and parameters, where without which you will be deceived, right? You need to analyze, discriminate, and persevere whether this person is right for you or not, as far as companionship is concerned, or your life partner and all that. Make the choices before you get into marriage, not after you get into marriage, right? This is where many people end up with severe problems, without discriminating things properly. And judging is good, right? But judging comes, uh, what I say, as a package encompassed within all these parameters, or mixed with all these parameters. Judgmental is different, wherein you start looking at a person's defect, a person's weakness, a person's error, a person's failure, a person's problem, and you start hurling blows in the name of judgment, in the name of judging, in the name of being judgmental. I hope I was clear, right? So, what is wrong? What is right? What is wrong is clearly being judgmental on others, especially when they are going through rough patches in their life. It's not good, right? You can't support that person. You can't be an encouragement to that person. You can't be a motivation factor to that person. But at least don't pull him down or pull her down by being judgmental and hurling blows. That's not right. What is right? What is right is mind your own business, right? Sometimes you're not welcome, or most of the times this world or your community or society or family doesn't welcome you. You don't make a forced entry saying that, hey, here is my opinion. Hey, this is what I want to tell you. And these are the things which keeps us kind of on the bad side, or on the negative side, where you and I don't get into the factors of judging person rightly. Therefore, we need to be very careful in what we talk. We did another session like measure your words and out of your mouth, right? Very important. And most of the words that are measured out of your mouth ends up to be judgmental in today's world, because of the socializing culture and the tools that helps you to judge people more. Why? Because you are not going to be asked of an account of what you judge others. right? And that's why it's very important for any of us to understand what is this concept of judging, and what is this title of judge not and let others judge you, right? With the same measure you judge others, it is going to come back on you. They are going to judge you, they're going to give you back, they're going to pay back, right? You need to bite the dust one day if you make others to bite the dust in the name of judging. Okay, just start with a simple quote. Two types of girls. Well, I took picked women for an example. Now, don't come hard at me. It's not about judgmental, but I'm just telling you, it's a quote. One who dresses properly and wear a lot of makeup is one category. Who doesn't care about how she looks. She's princess in her own pajamas or in her own dress, night dress, right? You know what is the fact? Both are perfect in their own ways, right? Now, this person can judge the other person. Look how dirty and ugly she is. Or look at that person's shoes. This man can say, this is the way to come to office. Could you not polish the shoes? Of course, polish your shoes. Don't go with a dusty shoe into a conference room. That's not right. But there are certain norms which the mankind will have to follow, and they generally don't tend to follow. And that ends up to be a big problem in letting others judge you and you get into altercations. That's also not right. But at the same time, when the person has put in a decent shoes and dress and come, don't show that, you know, what brand is this? Can't you buy a similar brand of this sort, this kind? That is not right, because that's exactly called as being judgmental. Okay. So now, um, what we need to start through is about the definition of this terminology or the term factor called as judge, right? Form, form an opinion or conclusion about a person or a situation or an incident is generally called as judge or judging, right? A person who basically gets into these sorts of opinion and conclusions, analyzing certain things. That's how a court judge behaves himself, right? Now, what is the definition of what does it actually mean, judging someone, right? It is to basically give your opinion or to decide about something or someone, especially after thinking carefully, to express a bad opinion of someone's behavior. And often because you think you're better than them. What makes you to judge others is you have that self prejudice and opinion that you are far better than other people. You don't have these kind of bad qualities. You may not have those kind of bad qualities from that perspective, but there are other areas where that person is far better. The level of his tolerance and patience far better. Therefore, each one of us have got our strong side and weak side, strengths and weaknesses, right? And that's where we need to watch out. Excuse me. That's where we need to watch out. You have no right to judge other people because of what they look like or what they believe or what they talk or what they um, yeah, talking, of course you can judge based on whether they talk something what is to be discussed in private place in front of 20 people. Of course you have to judge, you have to teach them a lesson, you have to teach them certain rules, guiding principles. Therefore, they don't commit a similar mistake and end up in worse problems, and don't put themselves into problems, and also put other people also into some sort of embarrassing situation. What is an example of judging someone? This frequently asked question. Um, Honesty, trustworthiness, and sincerity, for example, or morality judgments, right? You need to have some moral judgments. Examples of this type of judgment or this criteria of judgment would be how friendly, likable, and kind the person seems, right? You need to have that morality judgments. Only then you can make the best of the companionship. A person who matches to your mindset or behavior, or you pick a wrong companion, you end up in fight, or maybe that person influences you and misleads you of what is not your strength. For example, you gel with a sports person, he makes you jog, but actually you are a good chess player, indoor games, but you end up running outside. Excuse me, you end up in a muscle pull, or after some time you quit and you start hating that person, or then you accuse him saying you misled me and all that. Why did you allow him to mislead you? Because you were not honest to yourself and to the other person. You should have told that time, that point of time, right? Now, competence, when we judge someone's competence, right, We judge them based on how capable we think the person at accomplishing his or her goals, sometimes or most of the times. But that's for an elderly way. The first is like a morality judgment for to pick your right companionship. Second thing is the elderly way of judging things, is how we look at. We need to understand that parental judgment falls in this category of judging their children based on certain competencies, and therefore you need to understand that this is the same way how the corporates also measure your performance. You're in any organization, they measure according to the competencies being set in proportion to your goals and objectives. Are you meeting it? How you met it? How far have you met it? How much were you able to meet? And have you exceeded over and beyond, or you just met the expectations, or you did not even meet the expectations? Unfortunately, many children don't meet the expectations of their parents, and parents make mistakes of imposing those expectations to make children live their dreams or fulfill their dreams. They don't pay attention to the dreams of their own children. Therefore, we have a big problem there. We have a disagreement there, right? These are all part of the judgmental conflicts, and that's why we are giving certain examples. Next question, a very important one. Excuse me for my throat. How do you judge a person? What are the norms? The secret is to reserve judgment and take your time. Step back. You feel like judging someone, you need to be sure that you've observed them enough, you've inquired about them enough. Observe them in certain situations, like how they react. Listen to them talking, joking, laughing, explaining. All their emotional attributes you need to basically inquire and be sure. Complaining, blaming, praising, ranting, preaching, teaching. Only then you will be able to judge somebody's character. And you know what? This is applicable to yourself too. That's the point. You can't be too harsh to yourself. Generally, we are not very harsh at ourselves, because why? We are biased and we are partial, right? Because we care about ourselves. But as much as we care for us, we don't care for the rest, right? That's a problem. So apply the same principle even to the other people whom you judge. You don't like to be judged so rashly. Oh, this is too much. This was so rash. You can't treat me like this. But how can you treat others like this? What are the so in the event of speaking all this criteria, norms, etc., what are the effects of judging others? Are there any post effects, side effects, positive effects, negative effects? We really need to understand on these two. And judging someone can have similar effects to other forms of discrimination. People describe feeling isolated, ashamed, misunderstood, criticized, and being ignored, right? As a consequence, judging can also result in people being less likely to talk about what they are going through and ask for the help they need. Why? Because this world is full of criticism, critics, and it's not a world of empathy. It's a world of not even a world of sympathy. It's a world of critics, and that's where social media like Facebook and Twitter can play a spoil sport, where a person won't be able to come to the friend, right? 3 decades ago, this was not the case. People were honest to each other. That nowadays, honesty is coming, narrowing down, whereas overreaction and exaggeration is what is hitting the peak because of the platform, what the social media had built. Anyone can talk anything, and therefore people are very careful that many people can talk anything about me, and I don't want to even open my mouth. Majority, they don't open their mouth. So what happens? The consequences, the effect of judging others doesn't allow other person to talk about his problem to someone, because it becomes the world critics. He becomes a criticism or social stigma, and due to which many people have ended their lives, their career. So we need to really be careful, right? Now, why do we judge one another? We also need to judge one another, but why do we judge one another? Generally, how it comes out as a natural phenomena without being taught. Many people get into this practice, isn't it? In most cases, we judge others in order to feel better about ourselves, right? It's about getting that little pleasure and joy when someone falls down. With all sympathy on your face, you will ask, "Oh, is it like that?" But you have that little joy. Good, I didn't fall. Or he may be an enemy. You get so delighted, right? In biblical terms, that's a sin. You can't enjoy or rejoice at the downfall of your enemy. Even from the humanity perspective, I keep telling you, we live in the world made for humans, lived by humans. Therefore, we need each other. We need to support each other. What happened for that friend of you or that enemy of yours? Tomorrow it may be the case with you. Therefore, you need not be delighted, but you can take some lessons, possibly help, but don't criticize, right? Because we are lacking self acceptance and self love. Therefore, we judge others in order to feel better about ourselves. If we could all learn to love ourselves, we could make our world a much more compassionate and much less judgmental place. That also applies loving others. Is it fair to judge someone on their past? Right? This world basically doesn't forget anything that easily, especially if there is a remark on that person, anything bad, anything stupid he might have done or she might have done. It's very, very tough to erase, right? And the same person, surprisingly, would have been a top scorer, right? And everywhere, maybe in studies, maybe in his organization, workplace. But that one blemish, one point where he or she committed that mistake, it's going to make that big fortress, crumbling down. That's the psychology. That's the kind of world we live in. Therefore, you can't be watching out everything. You can't be very careful. You can't be free of errors. You can't be free of mistakes. But it's about the other person's attitude, how he embraces that person's mistake, and starts judging that person. Rather, you could say it's okay. You should have a friendly attitude, right? Because the same mistake what he or she had committed, you too can commit sometime down the line, right? You need to be really thinking of that. That's why you don't rewind the tape too much of others. If they do the same to you, you will feel hurt. People are judged by their past because we want to predict people from their past actions, behavior, and situations. You attend an interview, you go with your CVs and resume, and what you mention, your achievements of the past. So the world judges generally of what you are from the past, um, to stipulate something for the future or to set some expectations for the future based on your past achievements. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not right. Because why? The past may not be so bright. And how can you judge anything that I give it to this person? It's not going to be great. Bill Gates and many other great people, they were school dropout. And if they would have judged by their academics, if the world would have judged them by their academics, we would not have got Microsoft, the beautiful tool, right? So you and I need to be very careful on these lines, and therefore we judge people by their past because that is an inbuilt truth in our mind, which often proves wrong, that people don't change. We always build that kind of uh, an enigma or thoughts that they don't change that easily. So knowing their past will be enough to predict them at present is what people tend to use as a parametric measurement to judge, and that happens to be a misjudgment, misapprehension. Why you should not judge others? Some people definitely ask this question. As I told you, judging is necessary, but where, when, how many times, based on what parameters and criteria you judge, all these matters, and that's what we had been explaining, right? Now, some people ask a sharp question. They ask a sharp question: why you should not judge others? Um, it blocks your growth, right? Your open mindedness, your broad mentality, your broad mindedness, and giving other people an opportunity, being compassionate, being kind. You don't tend to be behaving like one. If you start being judgmental, calling out judgments, right? You see, every time you choose to judge other people's flaws, errors, especially, you're forgetting about their frustrations and pain, what they go through as human beings, right? You would have gone through, but some people are sadistic. What I had gone through, that person also should go through. Then only he or she will learn a lesson. What kind of attitude is this? Punishing attitude? Punishing whom? Punishing the feeble? No, you learned your mistakes. Why don't you help them to walk out of out of their mistakes? Right? Will Smith, one of the best analysts, once said, because in all honesty, everyone is struggling. Some people are better at hiding it than others, right? So honesty is one aspect, but the price they pay for honesty is sometimes very, very bad, very cruel, right? All right, by this we want to end this session, and I hope this was very fruitful, helpful, because judging others is not taking us anywhere, but by not judging others also is not going to take us anywhere. It's important aspect, it's an important parameter in life, but how you apply the judgment or judging criteria, how you set it up parametrical based on situation incident, that really measures and depicts how a person you are for your character, what you had learned of the past, how mature you are in judging others. All right, good. I hope this was a very useful session. Please comment, subscribe to our channel, and let us know you need any more topics. We are definitely more than glad enough to help you. But get access to all our channels in the playlist. There are four different playlists: part 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the last session in the part 4, and we will be kicking off part 5 also. We are having more sessions pipeline, and stay tuned, subscribe. Therefore, you will get an alert when a new session is being released, and therefore you can pay attention. Right? God bless you, and contact us in WhatsApp if you need any specific help. 9902212152. Bye. Take care.